Do you have any questions about this before we start, or do you want to just play for me and see what comes
Uh,
up?
um, yeah, sure. I'll just start and play. Yeah. Okay.
We're doing the prelude and the fugue, or just the prelude?
Well, maybe just the prelude first. And
Okay. 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 Very lovely playing. I the trills are the trill starts in the upper note. Yeah. Mm. Just four notes. Just four. Oh, and this generally. It's not. Don't stop at the end of the mordant. Mm. No. No, no, don't stop at the end of the mordant. Diddle diddle da dee da. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's how those trills are supposed to go. Mordants are supposed to go. Uh, Apart from that, it's very good that you're playing on this upright piano because any slight little blemish in your technique or in your musical conception will come out. The piano will not hide the things that still need to be worked on. And basically, it's the same idea that I had with Christine, which is that I don't want to hear that fingers are making these notes at all. So your phrasing was very beautiful and very beautifully conceived, and yet from a I've somehow what my experience of this is that I'm going through a tunnel. Like it's as if my fingers are going through a tunnel like that, and I don't feel like the fingers are pushing the nose down. So I feel that your fingers are doing too much and your arm is not doing enough. So watch me. My arm, and remember what I said? Bach says he puts the right finger in the right key at the right point in time, and he uses his arm to do it. So now my arm is here, and now my arm is here. Oh, now it's time for that key to go down. Oh, now it's time for that key to go down. Now it's time for that key to go down. Now it's time for that key to go down. Now it's time for that key to go down. La 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 la. When your arm is lilting like that, it ends up that the fingers feel, oh, there's a moment when the key just goes down almost by itself. But that's when the lever is exact. It's 180 degrees. It's not 179.2 degrees. It's just that one point in time. And then when you're moving like that, then your neuromotor, so your nervous system starts to feel those, because there's no way the mind can decide. It's absolutely no. It has to be felt. And you have to be felt. It can be felt if you are in the appropriate physical process. You see, my physical process floats me from here to here, to here to here to here. And so, of course, it's very easy for my fingers to be very, very exact in their relational development of the key. The finger doesn't push the key down. It establishes a relationship with the key, and the notes come floating out as if they weren't made by a finger at all. It's very, very different. Try. Okay. So actually, I'm not even happy with your first note. Sorry. Look, I want the first note to be a process. So watch. I'm going to break down the process. I'm going to do it with my other hand so you can see. I'll do it up here so you can see even better. My process is this. I'm approaching the key. I'm somewhere in the vicinity of the key. My thumb becomes aware of the key. My thumb establishes a touch relationship with the key, and I'm still moving. And as I move a little more, a breath develops inside my hand and moves the thumb into the key. So a breath develops, some sort of air develops. I'm moving. I'm touching. The air is moving me, and up, and the note sounds. There's a whole process to playing the first note, and you cultivate that process so that you are very. I can do it from inactivity. I can do it from inactivity. Now watch. I'm inactive. Before I started to play, I became active. Watch, I'm inactive and I don't play. I get active and then I play. That was totally different. That's a different process. That sound, that sonority grew out of living movement. It did not grow out of deadness. Yeah. And that note is now mystical. That note now has a mystical component to it. That's right. Yeah, that's right. You see? Well, why am I so bugged about this first note? Because once you establish the first note grew out of a process of movement. Well, then the next note grows out of a process of movement, and the next note grows out of a process of movement. And they all grow out of a process of movement. But the process of movement began before the notes started sounding. It's a precursor to live musical thread being established. And there's nothing weighted about it. I feel this sense of a kind of the weight of the arm or something. That's already a stop. For me, that's a stop. There's no stopping, so it's all going, which means I'm literally, there's nothing going down. There's nothing going down. The fact that the key goes down, it's like when I'm walking down the street, somehow the feet get in contact with the pavement and move me forward, but I don't feel a sense of my feet going down. The foot comes out and the heel establishes contact with the pavement. It doesn't feel like down. If it felt like down, it would be very stupid walking. So here, there's no down. It's no down. No, it's either sideways or lateral or up, but never down. And somehow you don't, the process is establishing movement that is lateral, establishing movement that is lateral, lateral and up. And you never reach for the key. You never, why would I reach for the key? Why would I go, oh, there's my finger goes, oh, there's G sharp? Why would I do that when my arm is taking my finger to G sharp? Why would I reach for the G sharp? Yeah, but you moved to the G sharp and then you stopped. It's like, what's that all about? The G sharp is played in passing. Good. I would. Fantastic. Keep doing that. Yeah. Why is this so difficult and why is this so mystically high? Because when you are rigorous with yourself and you say to yourself, I'm going to enter into this process. I'm moving before the note. I'm moving through to the next note and I'm moving and I'm moving. So there's no connection in terms of firm, but there's complete connection in terms of my entire arm being with note this and moving through this note 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 and moving through this note. And there's the choreography is very precise to keep me connected to a living, moving thread. And the finger movements relate to the key, but the arm is taking you everywhere through the melodic shape, and the keys are only incidental. The piano key is incidental. It's a tiny little detail in this dance of. I'm overdoing it now, right? So you can see this is what I feel. I'm way overdoing it. I'm way overdoing it so that you can see visually what you should be feeling internally. You should be experiencing that sensation internally, what I'm trying to show you visually. It's so intimate, it's so speaking. That one's from underneath. Doesn't the ornament on your in your score have a little hook at the beginning, it like a sickle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yes, that's right. And you have to know where every note is well ahead of time, so there's no accents. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, too much down. It was all great except for the D sharp. Yeah, yeah. Bravo. was very, very good. That was sublime. That's it. That's it. You see, a specific physical strategy gets you to a mystically brimming kind of melodic line. It's another animal. It's a completely different phenomenon. And for me, this is perhaps one of the most interesting lessons we've had since that Overveen experience a couple of years ago. Because in Overveen, we found this fantastic sound and this fantastic physical sensation just from melting in. And then since then, we've been establishing, well, that was great and it was wonderful. And an additional musical component needs to be present for that to find full manifestation. And here, the musical component is a further physical refinement of that basic sensation and sound that we got in Overveen, which was already mystical. But Bach, this is almost the best because you see so clearly that when you cultivate that process, it's a moving process from before, from during, from after, from moving through. And you really understand every physical component of that moving process. And when all the components are conspiring together to create a continual movement with no blocks, then it transforms. It becomes a music making of another order. So it's not easy, but it's certainly worth it. The left hand is going to be the same. I engage in a process. I engage in a process. I engage in a process. And here, and here, here. Sorry. Is sometimes do you hear? Sometimes I'm putting little tenuto bars on things. I do that without interfering with the process. Yeah. Bravo. No, that was noti. Yes. Yes. This was good. This was noti. So. You can't stop moving just because it's a little turn that doesn't move geographically. Yeah. Good. No. Yeah. Bravo. Bravo. Borderline. Why was that wrong? Did you see it? You will see it on the recording. You did this, and very obviously your second finger reached for its note. You'll see it on the recording. I do not reach for that A sharp with my second finger. I move my arm, and the second finger magically arrives at its note because Bach's arm helped his finger get there. You're still reaching for it. It's old habits die hard. I saw Christine do it a couple of times with her thumb when she was putting her thumb under in the scale. There, now you did it. Yeah. Bravo. Well, that was very good. You're really starting to get it. It's a different kettle of fish when you do that, right? You see, when I sort of hounded you about you've got to get into this process. This is a process where movement begins before and it continues through and on through each successive. When you engage fully in that process, you are one with the music. You are literally completely unified with each musical gesture. And that's the magic of interpretation. When you play it like that, then it's already a wonder. Because there's nothing between you and the shape that the music is trying uh, create, to inflect, shaping the invisible. Those little turns are the most difficult. That's the most difficult place to not to play in without a fingery touch. So now, if I move my arm far enough, out, then I can move back to get through that turn. Instead of doing a turn, shouldn't be like a ping pong ball bouncing off one wall and off the other wall. You have to pick a direction and either continue to move through to the outside or bye, Alberto, see you again. Yeah. Yeah. Better get your arm all the way there. There. No. See you, Ingrid. Lovely to see you again. Yeah, now you did it. Bravo, that was beautiful. You got the polyphony and the syncopation and everything. You see, those physical gestures, they can encompass all the elements. That was very cool. It was so beautifully inflected. The syncopation was great. It's very high way of getting that syncopation to really be a thing. Good. Bravo. Of course. Just to point out to the others, Ramon, that that was great. And whenever in Bach, whenever there's a held note and a moving line in the same hand, that's the greatest danger for this process of movement to grind to a halt. Because here you've got to hold this note and you have to keep that moving process. Even though you're holding on, this finger is holding on to that note, you cannot stop the moving process. And then So whenever there are two voices in one hand, you have to think especially hard about how am I going to maintain this moving process. That's that holding this one. That's the hardest one because you just have to hold this note, and then it's so easy just to play it like that, but it's bullshit. You have to keep moving. Sorry, couldn't quite make it to the end. I ran out of places to move. So you see, try that now, and you were doing very well. It was almost perfect. I think of all those two-part in one hand things, I only heard one or two notes that sounded fingery. Everything else sounded wonderfully moving. That's difficult. That. Good. Yeah, excellent. That was much, much better. Here, I would like a little bit more on the note B. Why? You have to zing this one because you have that dissonance there. Yeah. So there's two notes that get a little bit more juice. The B on the last beat of that bar and the F sharp on the second beat of the next bar. Because those two are setting up dissonances which are to appear shortly. Can you zing those two without stopping the process? Good. Good. Very fingery. I'm playing on the escapements the whole time. Bravo. That's right. Good. I'll explain that afterwards, Amy. Okay. Ramon, this is fantastic, Ramon. Can we stop just for a second? Because I want to ask everybody else. Does everybody see what Ramon's doing here? It's fantastic what he's doing, and I thought I'd call attention to it. You see, music is a process of movement. Music is a process of movement unfolding in time. And when he played it the first time, it was very good, but there was something stuck about it. And then you see how difficult it is to actually remain present to and remain in relation to that tiny thread of movement which constitutes this musical shape. So here here, and you see he's feeling, he's staying. I have to, I have to. How do I stay in movement? How do I stay feeling this key? How do I stay feeling in relationship to the key, the up and down three-dimensional weighted feeling of the key? It has mass, it has a certain inertia, and I join with that inertia, and I have to feel everything about myself in order to feel the inertia of that particular key, and then go on to the next one. So the act of staying in moving relationship to a musical line takes a great deal of presence. And you can see Remon here. It's beautiful because you see he's devoting himself to this, and he's going right in and sensing. It's all about sensing. But your sensing has to be educated. It has to have a certain goal. You don't just, oh, I'm sensing. Oh, I feel so great. I'm sensing. Yeah. No, they're sensing specific aspects of the physical complex to make this musical structure manifest in a spiritually high way. So I'm kind of blown away at Ramon's concentration and presence and the way he's devoting himself to this. So I did want to call your attention to it. You want to go on, Remon? Yeah. 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 Yeah, I swear to God, that little turn at the top of the first motive is the most difficult thing. This one, that one. So I was this, and then now we had it. So I would suggest moving your arm further. Go over here. Go over here. Give yourself some space. Basically, you're playing like that because you're stuck because you didn't give yourself any space. So I went further to the right. And here I go too far to the right. Oh, well, now I can go back. So if you don't go far enough to the, you will not have that space to maneuver your way around that little turn. And it will be like ping pong balls bouncing off two walls. So you need that extra space by going the extra mile for that motive. That motive is very tricky for that reason. But there's a way to handle it. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah. You see, every three note lilt is a shape, and you must devote yourself to that shape, or you will just bang those notes out. It's so subtle, and you have to be so there to feel, oh, this three note lilt is here, and this three note rocking is there, and this. But you're doing very well. You're feeling your way, and every little bit of what you're feeling is food for a developing interpretation. You understand? It's all on the right track, and you go through this many times until this way of devoting yourself to a process, which is very new and it demands an enormous amount of concentration, actually starts to become kind of normal. But that only it happens through repeated experiences of this very special relationship to the musical thread. Yeah, left hand no good. The arm has to move even though the C sharp is static. That C sharp is static, but your arm must not pay attention to that note. It should. Yeah. Better. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of movement involved for this simple little piece. And there are certain trip up points where, because one finger is holding a long note, the rest of the arm forgets to move yourself through that other moving voice. And there's the turn at the top of the opening motive. There's little problematic bits of fluff here which crop up over and over again through the piece. But now you're handling it extremely well. You're figuring out, how do I stay true to this process? How do I introduce no blockages? How do I get to this one, to that one, to this one? How do I get from here to there? So that the keys are all, none of them are played by a finger. They're all played by a free lever, a free lever, a free lever, a free lever. Yeah? And then Bach's thought can manifest. This simple little naive piece is tremendously difficult to play well. But now we've uncovered the difficulty. We've really set it in front of ourselves, and we've provided ourselves with a solution, which takes a lot of savvy and a lot of sensitivity, but it's possible to do.
Yeah.
And of course, the fugue will be more of the same, but the fugue is a little easier because it's faster, but it's the same kind of thing. It's the same feeling. I'm moving, 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 moving. Yeah, it's the same kind of deal where I don't get the. That's just mechanical. You see, it's dead because my arm did not move me, my finger levers, so that even in 16th notes, I put the right finger on the right key at the right time, and I use my arm to do that. Yeah? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Of course, again, there the turning figure will be the most difficult. What? Because this is static. It's not going anywhere. So naturally, my arm has a tendency to just sit there like a bump in a log, which is suicide. Yeah. You have to think it and cultivate it and make sure you're doing it, because those are the places where you'll stop. Yeah. 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 Many different ways, many different possibilities. You have to feel which is good for you. Bravo. Okay, that was a nice. You're just reading that, right? Yeah, but it's a nice, like people sort of they concentrate on the notes, and you are now concentrating on the forms, not that notes, but how are those notes connected? How do I move through them? So you were doing on the spot sight reading, creating the evolution of those melodic forms instead of pounding out the notes and I'll think about the music later once I've learned it. No, this is a far better way of learning it, learning the musical shapes from the beginning, because you have an actual physical experience of that physical shape. That physical experience is profoundly different from using the fingers to typewrite notes. Using the fingers to typewrite notes from this point of view is just you're creating huge problems for yourself and you're making the process much longer. And now you went slow in order to go fast, as Feldenkrais said. Go slow in order. So now you're going much slower, but you're sensing the actual directions. You're making music out of this thing from the start. So, of course, you're going very slow, but you'll save yourself a lot of time because now you've experienced it as it really is, instead of your first experience being some sterile typewritten iteration of the notes, which is just idiotic beyond imagination. Yeah? This is very good what you did now. It takes a lot of concentration, but it sure is worth it. It sure pays off. Hmm. Anything else? Do you want to comment about that, or questions, or specific things?
I have a question, Alan.
Yes, Christine.
Um, just about getting the arm to move when it's a big interval.
Yeah.
Like in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In measure 7 in the right hand and the prelude.
Ah,
From F
ah,
sharp up to G. Just
yeah.
is it
Okay,
just a
that's
matter of moving the
okay.
arm quicker
The I think musically the mistake is to rush it to try and play it totally in time. So you're
or
quite uh, and of course, uh, uh, unless somebody has a very small hand, you can actually play it so that. But the question is, you move your finger individually, you move your arm, and you move your arm. Yeah, I can't see your hand. I can't see what you're doing.
I can't see myself, so I don't know. Can you see it?
Yeah,
Is that good?
yeah, yeah. It's like your arm is too late in responding. You know?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had to do it super fast, mm, mm, your arm would go. Try this. Try this. Try that. Okay, now try that and don't totally fall down on the G.
Okay.
And now don't stand totally stiff on the G. But look, be perched on the G. Be perched on the G. Yeah, faster. Yeah, now did you feel what your arm did?
Yeah.
Now you just do that in slow motion. You have a strong tendency for your finger to reach for that note. And when your
Yeah.
finger reaches for that note, your arm goes to sleep.
Okay.
Now, and that was a clunky,
Yeah.
heavy arm. Look, the arm is there already, and then just perch on it on the finger. Yeah, that's better. That's nicer. You see, they're working together better now, the finger and the arm.
So
That's
that was my question: how to get them working together better. Okay.
well. One way is because now they have to work together.
Okay.
And then once you slow that down, if you realize what you're doing, your arm is already going to the G. Your arm is already going to the G. And when your finger reached for the G, the arm had already almost taken it there. You're very late with your arm. Look, your arm is going to the left. My arm is going to the right.
Your arm is going to the right here.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And you're so heavy. You're so heavy on the G. I just want a bit. Yeah, stand up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Alan, it's Diane.
Yes, Diane.
I've been trying to do what he's doing, and I really feel it back in my shoulder blade, which is unusual for me. So apparently, I've been trying to compensate and do it with my wrist and my arm.
Fantabulous.
Doesn't that make sense? And now I have no strain in my arm, but I'm feeling it in my what is that shoulder blade? Interesting.
That is fantastic. That's a great insight. Yes, when you're trying to get this moving relationship to the key, it's all of you. So with Ramon and I, we just focused on the forearm so that it's not fingery. But you felt, my God, which is exactly true. It's all the way back here. And if you actually put your hand there, you could feel the muscles in the shoulder blade working as the fingers are working. If you're not typing, no, but if you're moving, yeah, great. So that's something you can develop the more you try to do this. And these lessons will be sent to everybody. Some of you, oh darn, that German guy who came late, he left and he didn't leave his email address, so I won't be able to send him the. And Susan X, I don't know who you are, so you should send me your email address so we can send you copies of these lessons. Okay? But yes, Diane, that's great. Very cool. Anybody else? Because now it's the closing discussion. So unless Ramon, unless you have something else you want to.
No.
Ramon, you good?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what did you mean by the escape? What did you
Oh,
say?
yeah, that's right. Playing on the escapements. It's something that, the Pianimals people know a lot about it. They talk about it all the time. The escapement on the piano action is there's a jack and it comes up against the knuckle and
David,
then
yeah.
and then it so if you press the key down very softly and you feel it blocking and you don't press it to the bottom, that's the jack hitting the knuckle. Then if you press it a little farther, that's the jack going past the knuckle. So of course when we play normally, we go through it and the jack never catches on the knuckle, it just glances off, and that's so when I
Yeah.
play on the escapements, I actually try to play as if the keys are like a bouncy castle, the floor of a bouncy castle, and the key goes down to the escapement, and then it does not go the rest of the way down. I do not push the key down to the bottom of the key bed. I push it
You're not
down.
hearing it.
I put it down as far as the escapement, and then that's it. I'm finished.
But are you hearing the note?
Yeah, because look, if you do it fast enough, momentum will take the hammer to the key. It's only if you do it very slowly that you hear no note. If I play, I'm not putting any key to the bottom. It gives a lovely, pearly, feathery, light sound. And
So
you,
that's play fast.
pardon me?
You use that when you're playing fast.
Not always.
Okay.
Sometimes you play fast and go to the bottom. But it depends on what sound you want.
No, I don't. Yeah, I didn't mean playing fast all the time. It's just that playing the escapement is something you only do when you're playing fast.
No, you can do it when you're playing slow as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like, look. You can do on the escapements at any speed just to create totally mystical sound. Like it's disembodied sound. When you press the key to the bottom, you make it real, you make it concrete. And when you just press the key to the escapement, the sound is disembodied. It's floating somewhere.
All this Bach we've been working with Ramon,
Yeah.
is that playing on the escapement with Christine?
A lot of it was with Christine, the left hand was, and with Ramon, a lot of it was. I don't know about all, but basically they were all too fingery and all too concrete, so I had to take it in that direction to get that, yeah, disembodied sound.
Don't worry about the escapement thing. I'm just gonna concentrate on the carrying,
Yeah,
shaping, the arm shaping, finding the shape.
sure.
Right?
Brian,
I'm trying to connect what you said at my lesson a couple of weeks ago about in the arpeggios, this kind of forearm movement to loosen up the hand, and what you're saying about the movement for the phrase. Are they essentially the same feel, or are they different ideas with the same mechanism?
I'm sorry, could you say that once again? I didn't quite get it.
Okay. I was trying to connect the forearm movement to what we were talking about in the arpeggio lesson or you had me doing this to kind of loosen up the hands and to get the fingers to move evenly.
Yeah.
And is it the same mechanism but a different concept when you're talking about this?
You see, I tailor my lessons to the person getting the lesson, right? So with you, when we did the arpeggio thing, the forearm movement is exactly the same. The forearm movement is exactly the same. Sorry, but with you, because I needed to introduce a little bit more of the finger element. So it's this whole finger grasping that stands you up, and actually that stand up is already moving the arm, and it's already moving the arm. So with you, I had it that this stand up motion launches the arm. The stand up motion launches the arm. Chris, could you mute yourself, please?
Sorry.
You understand, Brian?
So essentially, it was a tool to get somewhere else.
Well, you see, Ramon's this action in Ramon's hand is already pretty well developed. I mean, he's been playing professionally for many years, so I could afford to simply have him float and do the arm like this.
Okay.
And because with you, I needed a little stand and float, 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 stand and float. That's because I felt that this was very like nurturing, like, oh my God, you need to feel like you're in command of what you're doing. And this idea here, I felt it was really helping you just get really wonderfully related to the instrument. So once this is more in place, then you could probably go to something more like what you saw today. But of course, they're very related. They're just two different versions of the same thing.
That's what
One
I was wondering.
a little bit more accent on the finger, and the other a little bit more accent on the arm. But the two sides of the coin, and which side of the coin do you want to look at more?
Yeah, I was thinking today that I kind of need more squid.
Squid is excellent. Yeah, because squid kind of that instantly it joins those two things. Squid is finger and arm. You've always got the opposite metaphor. I love it. Anybody else? Well, we're not actually going to end on time for once.
Um, my experience changed in 8 weeks, and today I feel more consapevole of my body
Uh-huh.
and arm.
Mm-hmm.
This is beautiful.
Great. I'm glad you're feeling that. And it's I like the fact that you're feeling that. It's because it's showing that the awareness through piano movement, which may not have much to do with piano, it basically has to do with the body, but it is feeding into the piano. And so things that may at first not seem to be so related to our repertoire actually are having a great effect on the repertoire. So, but going back to the body and first feeling the change just in the body. It's a wonderful kind of background experience which you can then bring to your repertoire. Would you say that's okay? That's a kind of accurate? Yeah. Yeah. Kathleen.
I think this is a good segue. I do have some experience with Feldenkrais.
Yeah.
So I have a background that I place these ATPMs into.
Yeah.
And this may sound a little weird, but these lessons are like keys to the kingdom of God. Now, if you don't like those words, maybe you could just talk about them as keys to transcendence. Because if we learn those templates, like you said earlier, they're applicable to all these situations with Bach that we heard so beautifully today. So thank you.
I love that. That's fantastic. You and Lucky the cat with your ball of wool.
Oh, and I should give a shout out to Dragon.
I will. I'll send him a picture of this. He's going to love it too.
I'm entwined to agree with Kathleen.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
Just say, wouldn't it be great to move in the world the way our hand would ideally move on the piano? So we're always, and it reminds me of, being able to Feldenkrais's principle of wanting to be ready to move in any direction at a moment's notice. So that's kind of what you're asking of the hand. Even the body, it's not so easy. Maybe it's easier the head.
Yeah. Well, but the additional component in the hand is we're asking it to move in any direction, at the specific moment in time for a very specific musical reason. So that somehow gives it context, which is, once you get into it, then it's easier when you have the context. Because, if I move here, it doesn't align with the music. If I move here, it aligns with the music. So maybe if we had more context in our daily life, like, I'm just getting a coffee. Who needs to move in a well-organized way to get a coffee? But maybe it could be a work of art to get a coffee,
I know. I wish I had context in my life.
Well, it's something to work on. It's something to discover and create. Alejandra.
Yes, I just want to say or to share my favorite phrases in this institute, which are the sensory grammar, the grammar of spontaneity,
Yeah.
and today's highlight, music is a process of movement, like highlights to that helped me to remember the kind of searching. Is it? And thank you very much, Alan. All your teaching is like magic.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that, and thanks for highlighting these phrases, which are really, yes, very central to what we're doing. Sensory grammar, spontaneity, and yeah.
I took a lot of notes today.
Great.
A
Excellent.
lot of those pithy.
Cool. Yes, Joyce.
I just wanted to share a really interesting experience this week that showed me how much I've evolved since we first started this process.
Yeah.
And you told me to, stand up on my finger and feel it in my collarbone.
Right.
Well, my collarbone had no connection to my finger, but gradually that has evolved, and I was starting to play something this week. It was just kind of like a late elementary piece.
Yeah.
But it's like I felt not fingers, but whole arms that went all the way back to my vertebra. And it was like this conducting.
Wow.
This little simple piece. And it was just amazing feeling.
Wow. Wow.
So I really accomplished something.
Yeah, that's great. It's like you were given wings.
Yeah, it was the most amazing feeling, you know, kind of like a conductor.
Yeah, and it comes from connection, from actually connecting the fingertip all the way back. Yeah,
All the way to the connection between the spine and the shoulder blade.
wonderful.
And they were so real. It was just something I've never felt before,
Hmm, hmm.
despite the number of years I played the piano.
Joyce, I just have to say what you have just described brings tears to my eyes. It's just beautiful what you experienced.
Yeah,
Well, it's been pretty amazing.
that's wonderful.
Do you work with it a lot, Joyce? In your
No,
week?
I mean, I've actually been playing the piano very little bit, but I find I spend a fair amount of time. Like before I get out of bed, I sit on the edge of my bed and I sit there and make my monster make an art. And at, at odd times of days, I make bird beaks
Nice.
and I do a lot of away from the, I've done probably 80% away from the piano and 20% at the piano.
Fantastic.
Or maybe even 90%, 10%. But it's been very, very much more without the,
Yeah, I know
you
what you mean.
play the piano, you have the element of sound.
Hmm.
You work with just your body. You can focus on sensation without sound.
Hmm.
And I think that for for my initial learning, because it was like, I mean, I learned everything that you said, you know, the weight, the relaxation, the circles, all of those have been a part of my training. Everything you said. So this was like a revolution and a revelation.
Hmm.
So I've really been doing, I'm very fond of silent practice, mental practice. And so I've really been doing way heavy on the mental practice and very light on the physical practice, because I don't have any performance goals at this point in time. It's more bringing my left arm back to life.
Yeah.
And I think this way I don't stress it out the same way that I might have a temptation to do if I were playing a piece.
Yeah, that's I think it's very wise, and it's paying off in big dividends. It's really, and you know, every time when you play the piano, there's always the old habits waiting just to rear their heads. And
Waiting
yeah,
to
so you
jump.
just like say, no, I'm going to do this in bed or at the table or wherever, and then when you get to the piano, the new is familiar, and you actually have a chance to invoke it.
So
Great.
it's been quite a journey.
Well, I'm very touched and really happy to hear that. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being a part of this process. So, for those of you who were a part of Pianimals 2, that we have the study group, which you are all welcome to come to. And we have Pianimals 3, the summer 2021 edition,
What's the
is starting
study
in
group?
July. Pardon me?
What's the study group?
The study group meets every second week at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, which is 10 in the morning for you, Amy. 10 in the morning for Eastern Seaboard. And we have one piece, and we plan the piece in advance. So next Saturday, for instance, is going to be Chopin E minor waltz. And we plan who's going to play it. So Renee Maurer is going to play it. So before he plays, we discuss what are the issues in this piece, what chapters from this thing might we use to approach certain musical and technical problems in the piece? And we sort of have a little conversation. And then he plays, and while he's playing, we're all making our notes. And then afterwards, before I, the author of Pianimals, say what I think should be said, we ask, okay, what do you think? We have a conversation. We have it's a real exchange. And of course, I put my 2 cents worth in. Last week it was like I was just waiting for everybody to state the obvious, and some people kind of hinted at it, but nobody. It was for me. It's like leaping out at me, like this is the obvious thing. It was a question of dynamics. The left hand was too loud, and everybody was, well, you could do this, you could do that, and nobody just said, listen, the left hand's too loud. So sometimes it's so obvious that the simplest thing is the hardest one to pick up. So. And then after that, we do an awareness through piano movement lesson, which is composed out of the issues that arose during that lesson.
Ah,
And it's a 1 3/4 hour kind of a deal.
is it, oh,
It's
can
a
you
it's
hum
a way
few
of
bars?
pardon me.
Can you hum a few bars of the Chopin E minor?
Bum ba-da-dum diddle-diddle-dum, dum. Yeah, I can't play with my right hand, so that I mean, the study group came into being because when the first Pianimals Institute ended, people wanted to continue, and I hadn't even thought about it. So we just kind of came up with this format, and we're welcome to new ideas. We can do whatever we want with the 2 hours, but this seems to be a productive way of continuing this exchange and this conversation and this investigation of these ideas. So you're all welcome. And if you want to redo all this, you're welcome to the summer iteration of the 8 weeks. And also, if you know other people who you think might benefit or be interested, then tell them about it. And I'll put the recordings of today up online so that people can watch and get a taste of what it's all about.
As someone who took the institute twice, I highly recommend it. These concepts, I was so inexperienced. These concepts were all very new to me. So having gone through it this second round, a lot of it's just a lot more clear, and I was able to incorporate more. So, and it's offered at such a reasonable cost. I didn't feel like it was a hardship to sign up twice.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I keep the price down because I do want it to be easy for people to come. And
Alan, is the study group is there a fee for the study group?
oh yeah, there's a fee. It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same. It's $25.
Oh, same. Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking of putting it up if we didn't get enough people, but we have enough people, so I'm leaving it at that price. Yeah, and it's interesting, Brian, that you mentioned this idea of the concepts being more familiar, because as I said at the very beginning of this evening, I do worry about like the language that I use and the sort of the Feldenkrais terms applied to piano and the hands hip joint, and I just worry that it's as clear as I'm making it, that it's still just unfamiliar to people. So I'm interested to hear that through the 2 cycles that you actually did get familiar enough with these ideas that it's
Right.
that they're workable for you now.
Yeah, yes, but just remember that for me, I was so inexperienced. I mean, what was, I think, common knowledge for many people in the group from the get-go was just total news to me. So I didn't have anything to adapt from. Essentially.
Well, yeah, but a lot of my language is total news even to seasoned pianists because it's just different language. It's Feldenkrais thinking, looking at piano playing. So there's a disconnect which needs to be connected, which needs to, the connection needs to be established because it's not there to begin with. Yeah. So, is it that sad time of day again when we have to say goodbye or farewell or till we meet again?
Yeah, I'm amazed at how long I can stay with this, but by the end of the second lesson, I get a little.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, I'm always amazed. I'm teaching, so I'm it's easy for me to stay. But when you just have to watch, it's like it's really you need a lot of concentration. Yeah, yeah. So look, send me your emails, send me your questions. I'd love to keep in touch with you, whether or not you continue with the institute or the study group or some other form of study with me. I do love to keep in touch and hear how everybody's doing, because for me, we're all in it together. And there's somebody named Billy here who I don't know. So if you send me your email address, Billy, then I'll send you links to these recordings so that you can watch them later again. Yeah. And I just want to say what a pleasure it's been to have you all as a part of this group. You're all dear to me. It's been really very moving and very exciting to see so many improvements and breakthroughs and so much wonderful music making and the potential for more wonderful music making. It's really very exciting. Yeah. And
Well, thank you very much.
yeah, and thank you to our two players today, and thank you to Kathleen for her wonderful ball of wool. And we'll see you all anon. Yeah. Bye bye.